It is Wednesday, November 1st, 2023. This is another World Series edition of Baseball Today, presented to you by our friends over at SeatGeek. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. We get it started with a tip of the cap, near and dear to my heart. On this first day of November, 23 years ago, I became a daddy. So, tip of the cap to our oldest son, Joshua Rose. Hard to believe. 23 years old. He was hanging out with us last night, giving out trick-or-treat candy. He was like, can you believe I'm going to be 20? I was like, shut your mouth. Don't say that. I can't believe it.
You're like, I remember when you were trick-or-treating and I had to watch you. I love Josh. Josh is a stud.
Yeah,
right? He's in his Jordan year, so you better watch out. That guy's going to do some big things this year.
I know. I'm very, very proud of him. He's really found his way in San Diego. He's gotten into the sports production business and is doing a great, great job. And his mother and I are very, very proud of him. So, Joshy, we love you a ton. Keep up the amazing, amazing work.
How's Michelle?
How is she?
Yeah.
She's great. We had a great time with trick-or-treaters. I know that you were watching the game mostly. I brought my phone outside and was watching the game, particularly when it got 10-0. I was like, I want to see what all the kids are wearing this year. And, I want to yell at them for taking too much candy and stuff and a few other things. It was fun. Got some good costumes out there. That was a good time. So once again, we are presented to you by SeatGeek. You can get 10% off your next order, whether you're a newbie that are downloading the app on the phone for the first time or a returning customer. Just use that code word, John Boy Postseason. All one word. All caps. So go do that today. All right. Are we almost done with the baseball season? The Texas Rangers are on the precipice of their first ever World Series title. They got it going, blowing out the Diamondbacks early, and you know who was the main culprit.
Now Seager to right center field, way back there. And gone again. Corey Seager does it again. And that does it for Game 4. An explosion for the Rangers, a couple of 5-run innings, and the Texas Rangers are 1 win away from their first World Championship.
When Adolis gets hurt, that's emotional, right? Like, he's been a huge part of our success, not only in the postseason, but in the regular season too, and he deserves to be out there. So that's when you pull together as a team and you say, hey, let's do this, for the guy who can't go out there tonight. He's pulled us along this whole year. Let's pick him up.
That the sounds of Travis Jankowski, who filled in very well for Garcia and got a couple of knocks on the night. How impressed are you that the Rangers came out with that kind of fire just literally an hour before finding out that Garcia and Scherzer were done for the entire postseason?
I mean, the Rangers are an impressive team. This is what they do. We talked about this, almost all season, but surely in the playoffs, they're able to put up big innings. And if you make mistakes, they're able to capitalize on them. Torey Lovullo was talking about that even before this game. He's saying, if you give them extra chances, extra outs, they're going to capitalize, and that's what they did last night. A couple big 5-run innings is all they need. That's all that you ever really need in baseball. But I think we made a lot of the Adolis going out, and for good reason. He's had an incredible run here, and he's been at the center of their offense during the playoffs. But we also talk a lot about how long their lineup is and how many guys can hurt you in that lineup. So when you construct a roster like they have, like one guy going out doesn't necessarily hurt you, especially when you got a guy like Corey Seager there as well. But being able to plug in Jankowski and have him, get some knocks, some ribbies, make a nice sliding catch in right field. Then you get Marcus Semien going as well. Like, one guy goes down, another limb appears out of nowhere. That's what this Rangers team has done all season long. So I'm impressed. It is a big gut punch to a team when you lose a couple of your key cogs, but it also creates opportunities. And Jankowski's getting that World Series opportunity right now, and that's awesome. So I feel like, there are times where you sulk about those things. World Series is not the time to sulk. It's about, hey, guy, you're getting your opportunity. This is awesome. Let's go finish this thing off. That's the approach they took last night, and they're 1 game away. See, Rosie.
So a few, let's fill in some numbers here. 10 runs scored with 2 outs. That's utterly preposterous. 10 is another big number because the Rangers have ripped off 10 straight road wins to start this postseason. We talked a little bit about that in yesterday's show. I have no idea. This is an anomaly, but still, it's very cool. And you talked about the consecutive 5-inning runs. That's the first time that has ever happened. in World Series play. So we got to see something new last night, which I thought was kind of cool. I think one of the reasons that the Rangers weren't so stunned with the Garcia and Scherzer news is that they have dealt with it basically from the word go this year, right? They lose Jacob deGrom, who was supposed to be the dude after 6 starts. Nathan Eovaldi, who gave them an all-star first half, was not ready for the second half of the season. John Gray, who at least had been in the rotation and done some great things this year. They lose him at the most important time of the year in September. They don't have him. The only guys they had in their everyday lineup that were there the entire season, basically, were Nate Lowe, Marcus Semien. And that's it. I mean, Seager missed 40 games. Josh Young missed time. Garcia missed time at the end of the season. Jonah Heim missed time. It was all over the place. So they were prepared for this moment. And when people like me wanted to count them out at the end of September because I didn't think they had enough gas left in the tank, they have said, fuck you, Rose, and everybody else, and just kept going, kept mashing. That's awesome. That's a team.
They had plenty of gas in the tank, a reserve tank that you might not have known about. So, it's not your fault. Some cars have 2 tanks.
Didn't know. Didn't check on the underbelly.
The Rangers have like 5 tanks, dude. They're fine.
Hey, we wondered what was going to happen with the bullpen game for each team. It ended up that it was not a bullpen game for the Texas Rangers because Andrew Heaney threw 5 innings for the first time since late August. What a time to shine. I thought that was the biggest part of this game because when the Rangers ended up putting 5 spot in the second, I was thinking, well, this game's not over because of the way that the Rangers are going to have to run through the rest of their pitchers. I thought Heaney was going to give him 2 1/3, maybe something that had been his track record throughout the playoffs here. But guess what? He shoved, and I don't think people were talking about that enough last night.
I mentioned that yesterday. You asked me like what I thought was going to happen. I said because they have guys that you can kind of see how they're going, that are stretched out a little bit. I gave the advantage to the Rangers. What helped Heaney out though? I mean, a 5 spot, another 5 spot. You start to settle in a little bit. Your pitches don't have to be as perfect. So because they don't have to be as perfect, you probably get a little bit better. When you're trying to be so perfect, you tend to make some mistakes. Heaney was out there understanding I got to fill the strike zone up, no free passes, all these things. The Diamondbacks ended up making it sort of close at the end, but by that time the game was over and they were kind of just hanging on. But I agree with you that having him have that start, them scoring the runs, being able to rest their good bullpen, except for Leclerc there at the end, but he only threw a couple pitches. It's going to pay off for tonight's game and in the rest of the series, well, because those guys have been run out there quite a bit. So yeah, tip of the cap again to Heen Dog.
And to Marcus Semien, who finally got it going. He had a 5 RBI game, had 3 entirely in the playoffs coming into last night. A couple of base hits, including his first home run in over a month. So that was very good for Marcus Semien. I made that point the other day. I paged him. Apparently he accepted my page to the front of the store. That was awesome. But his running mate there in the middle infield continues to be the story. Corey Seager. Fox showed a great graphic last night. They really did. He has now played 77 playoff games, the same number as one Reginald Martinez Jackson. Seager now has 19 homers and 48 ribs, 1 more homer and the same number of runs driven in as Reggie. Should we be thinking of Corey Seager as the modern-day Mr. October?
Why do you got to ask me these questions, man?
Because I think it's an amazing question.
The modern-day Mr. October. He's in the running for modern-day Mr. October. I'd have to really sit down and think who else is in the running. Reggie Jackson did win 5 World Series, so he's got some catching up to do in that regard. Was it 3 with the A's and 2 with the Yankees? I think that's what it was. He's had an incredible run here, and the numbers are eerily similar. The overall numbers are similar, like the World Series numbers are similar. I don't want to take anything away from Corey Seager, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, I think
who's your modern day? If it's not Corey Seager, do you have anybody else that you have that you know of?
No, I think part of the reason we call Reggie Mr. October is, and I was very young when he moved. He first went from Oakland and made a pit stop in Baltimore for 1 season before moving on to the Yankees in 77. So I was 6 years old in the fall of 77. I do think that part of the narrative is that he has given us one of the most iconic games in the history of the sport. Not only a 3-homer game in the game that sealed it, the Yankees World Series for the first time in 15 years or whatever it was, but hitting 3 homers off of 3 different pitchers. And the guy, he's the straw that stirs the drink, and the bravado that came to New York, and he wasn't well loved by all the teammates when he got there, all that sort of stuff. So I think it's the personality that encompassed the legend of Mr. October. Shit, Corey Seager, they couldn't even get him to say anything nice about himself yesterday. Reggie didn't need the invite to say anything nice about himself. So I think that's part of the difference here. And I think if Corey Seager were like, are you the new Mr. October? He'd be like, no, that's Reggie Jackson. I just like playing baseball.
So I was trying to think like, okay, like what, like who could it be when you sent the question? My first thought went to the Astros players, because I feel like the reason Reggie Jackson also has that moniker is it was back to back with the A's and then back to back with the Yankees. So you get that cluster. You're in the spotlight for all these years in a row, and you hold on to that. So like the Astros, like Jose Altuve is a good answer, I think, for that. I got to check Bregman's numbers. I mean, Yordan Alvarez has a case. Like if he continues to go, he can be on the radar for that. But I think you have to be in the playoffs and late into the playoffs, like multiple seasons in a row. So I'm still going to go with Reggie Jackson. I'm not going to give it to anybody else just yet. But Seager is on the path. Yordan's on the path. You can make an argument for Altuve, Or we could just leave it and just call Reggie Jackson Mr. October.
I think that's it. I think that's it. But I thought it was enlightening to see the numbers next to one another. And just, I think because the guy's so quiet and we're like, oh my God, Corey Seager did it again. Then we just kind of move on. There's what? It's
a big part of it. I think that larger than life personality plays into a nickname like that.
Totally. Can we get to the bigger question about Corey Seager? Why the hell did Arizona pitch to him again last night? 2 outs, Plouffe. There were 2 outs in the inning, and they were only down 1-0 at the time.
With a runner on third base, 2 open bases. I know.
But it wouldn't have mattered how many open bases there were to me, because we talked about it yesterday. We knew that they were going to move Mitch Garver up to the 3-hole, which they did. He ended up striking out, I think, 3 times on the night. That part's irrelevant. I would rather have Castro pitching to Garver than to bring in Nelson to pitch to Seager. Seager's OPS against lefties this year was almost 900.
I saw a stat. I think he's seen 55 pitches, 29 strikes. That seems like you shouldn't be doing that, especially when the guy behind him is not there anymore.
Right.
Like the bad man behind Corey Seager is not there anymore. You have 2 open bases after Simeon gets the third on that knock down the line. I would agree with you, C. Rosie. 3-0. Let's say you get out of that inning. 3-0 is a lot different than 5. And then, the next inning happens. So,
dude, it was 1-0 when they pitched to him, wasn't it? Was it 1-0 or 3-0?
I'm talking about after Simeon drove in those runs. It was 3-0.
Oh, right. Okay. Yes, it was 3-0 at that point. Yeah, you can get 3-0's not that big a deal. Come on, stop.
I asked this question last night on Talking Baseball, and the Rangers fans, like acting like we're rooting against the Rangers. I'm not. I don't care who wins. I like good baseball. I'm trying. Okay, hold on. That's fine. I think, you talk about the Diamondbacks. They lost the game that they handed the ball over to Seawald, right? Like they won that game essentially until they didn't. They played a good baseball game. They should win that game 90% of the time, maybe more.
Yep.
And then last night, there's just a couple things. Like if you don't pitch to Seager, 3-0. If Christian Walker makes a play there in the next inning to get him out of it, it's so different. And that's why we always talk about in a 7-game series in the playoffs, like it's just about the bounces and like everything matters so much. I feel like Arizona could still be in this, but they're not. They're miles away from being in this. It's because you have to give credit too, I guess, to the Rangers for capitalizing on all these mistakes. But like I'm watching this series and it seems like an absolute blowout. But there's just a few instances that cause these blowouts. If you just reverse them, it'd be a completely different series. It should be 2-2 right now, essentially, but it's not.
Not should be. I don't like
It
those
should
words.
be 2-2.
Why,
you
wait,
hand the
why
ball over to
should
your
it be
closer.
2-2?
I'm just
No.
saying, statistically, you hand your ball to your closer with a 2-run lead. I want to know the percentage of times teams win those games. It's got to be in the 90s,
Okay.
at least.
But so let's say it's 91%. Let's just throw that number out there.
Okay.
That means 9% of the time it doesn't work.
That's good.
That means
math,
almost
Chris.
hold on.
That's
That means 1 out of every 10 times. And Paul Sewald, I think, was pitching for the 9th or 10th time this postseason. There it is.
That's not how statistics work. Even I know that.
Well, how else would they work?
It doesn't happen. Oh, just because this is the 10th time he pitched, he's going to blow it. No,
but here we are. If
still, it doesn't matter
what
time. It doesn't matter what game he's in. He's got a 90% chance to finish the game or higher, whatever it is.
And then there's the time that he doesn't finish the game.
You know what I'm saying. Stop.
I do
You're
understand
playing devil's
it, but
advocate for no reason here. I'm trying to give the D-backs fans a little bit of love here.
And that's fine. We'll have time to do that very quickly on the whole Rangers thing. Stop, Rangers fans. Enjoy what's going on. Enjoy what's going on. Oh, well, they're not giving us any credit. I always tell this because I come from a city that is always looking around the next corner to see what bus is going to hit them sports-wise. All right? I always tell, stop. Well, they're not talking about our team enough. You know when they talk about you? When you win the whole damn thing. That's when people have to talk about you. So go win the whole damn thing. People will talk about you forever. Forever. You will always be mentioned as the team that won it all in 2023 if you get one more win. And by the way, when the series jumped to Arizona, we made the point that because of the extra inning game, there had been 20 innings played. Texas led after only 3 of the 20 innings. That's it.
Not anymore.
15% of the, okay? They've come out to Arizona and they've kicked ass. John Gray, to me, was the difference maker in this series so far. With the way he shut the door after Scherzer left, could have gone sideways. It didn't. But stop pitching to Corey Seager. Once again, today's episode of Baseball Today is presented to you by SeatGeek. We want to save you 10% on your order. When you download the app on your phone and you use the code word JOHNBOY postseason, you're going to get 10% off your next order at SeatGeek. And if you're a returning customer, you can use that code. We want you to use it again. That's right. So save money on maybe if you're going to be out in Phoenix, want to get some World Series tickets today. Cool. NBA, NHL, NFL, college football, concert going. It's great. Now, not only does SeatGeek allow you to go buy the tickets, they're going to point you in the right direction. They make buying tickets so simple. They actually rate every ticket on a scale of 0 to 10, and they give you color-coded dots. So I was shopping for some tickets the other day. I see a dot that's not like on the floor for NBA tickets. So I'm thinking, are they really good? Well, yeah, they're great because you're getting the best deal possible. And I saw some floor seats that had a red dot next to them. I was like, how in the world could it be a red dot, which means no go? Because you're not getting the best deal possible. SeatGeek not only wants your dough, they want to put you in the right position. So they're not one of them greedy-ass companies out there. They love you. So download the SeatGeek app, John Boy Postseason. It's all one word, all caps. Get 10% off your next order. Head to your phone right after the show. Go do your thing. All right, so Arizona's now up against it. Down 3-1. Only 6 teams have ever come back in the World Series in that situation. But don't count this team out, right, Skip?
You keep fighting. You stay connected. You commit to the plan and the process for 27 outs, and you close the game up to 11-7, got the fans engaged, got a ton of energy, got their closer in the game. There's a lot of positives to draw upon, and I will.
Okay. Are you buying what he's selling, or is that just lip service?
I think it's a little bit of both, C. Rose. I mean, what's he gonna say? We're done. We're toast. No, like he's the manager. You gotta motivate your players. I mean, if there's any time to do it, it's when they're facing an elimination game in the World Series. So I think there's a little bit of that where he's just trying to get his guys saying, "Hey, we can do this." Does he believe it? I think he believes it a little bit. I mentioned the series probably should be 2-2, and they do have a path to win. They do. I mean, you got your 2 horses going. Gallen, I know, hasn't been himself in the postseason, but I mean, if he came out tonight and threw 7 innings strong, I don't think anybody would be too shocked. I know the Rangers have woken up offensively. Or they've been woke. They've been woke people. I get that. But there's a chance. I mean, we just saw them do it in Philadelphia. Like, if they win this game, and then you got Merrill Kelly, who's been nasty, you win that game 7, anything can happen. So I think there's a little bit of lip service, but a little bit of like, you have to believe in that because they just went and did it in Philadelphia. So I'm, you know that the Rangers have the upper hand right now, big time, but you can't count a team like the Diamondbacks out. I mean, their nickname is the Answer Backs. They just did it against the Phillies. So like, there's a lot of things you can draw inspiration from if you're in that clubhouse, and that's what Torey's trying to get his guys to do, to buy into that.
Well, I think sometimes being a sports leader, a manager, or a head coach is about lip service, is about getting guys to turn their mentality around when it's not exactly where it should be. I think that's part of the role. And I actually think that Torey Lovullo, this is really the first time in his managerial career where he's in the spotlight because this team, quite frankly, just hasn't been very good since he's been around there. And I think people are really learning what he's all about. He's honest. He is great in front of a microphone. Like, that's not Bochy's thing. Bochy's not going to win any of the media awards like Terry Francona did, like Joe Madden, like Torey Lovullo does now. Bochy's just, our guys have done that all season. I mean, that's who we are. I'm proud. Like, that's what he does. That's who he is. And Torey's this guy. And I think his players buy in. I really do. I think you made a great point that they win tonight. They're in the exact same position as they were in the previous series. And that's what he has to impress upon them. Like, don't worry. I get it. We were down 11-1, but we fought back. And by the way, I know Leclerc only threw like 10 pitches or whatever. If they put him in tonight, it'll be the first time all year he pitches 3 straight days.
He doesn't care. That guy's been throwing all postseason long, man.
Just saying. I'm just saying that it's the first time. That's all.
He'll be, if they have the lead, his ass will be in there.
I know. But I'm just a fact pointer outer. I'm just a fact pointer outer.
I like that.
That's it. By the way, how nervous are Texas fans going to be if they've got like a 3-2 lead in the 8th and the doors swing open and here comes Chapman?
I think it's like a scary roller coaster, but you want to go on it. You want to go on it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a little scary.
I don't know if fun's the right word.
Stomach's going to feel a little weird.
It's probably one of those where you'll talk about and tell all your friends that you went on the ride afterward, that you hated the experience while it was happening, but you were like, I survived.
Yeah, you'll be a better person. You'll grow from these experiences. And you guys know this one's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The baseball playoffs are underway and things are heating up in the ballpark. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you won't miss a moment of the action. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. So what are you waiting for? Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BASEBALL today. Baseball today. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on baseball. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code Baseball Today. The crown is yours. Gambling problem?
Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles, Louisiana. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. See dkng.co/baseball for eligibility, terms, and responsible gaming resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply.
Game 5 tonight, a rematch of the Game 1 pitching matchup. Eovaldi and Gallen, they weren't at their best in that one. What is it going to look like, in your opinion?
I think both guys are really good with making adjustments, and I think Gallen specifically is a guy that'll look to make some changes and pitch to weaknesses, where Eovaldi's probably going to just continue just to be like a bulldog and just kind of throw his stuff. So I think that's going to be an interesting storyline here. what's it going to look like? I mean, I could see a ton of different scenarios in this game. Obviously, it's an elimination game for the D-back. So I think, if there is some trouble early on, like Gallen won't be long for the game. But again, I could see a situation where we see him pitching into the 6th inning and, having a really good start. We've seen it so many times from him. You're talking about the statistics, like he's due for a really good start. Is it going to happen? I don't know. I think that if we do see someone go deeper into the game, it's going to be Eovaldi. I do think we'll see Gallen go through the lineup twice, and then maybe that's it. If he looks good, Torey's going to have his finger there, ready to go to his bullpen, make the right moves. That's just how he's managing right now. So I'll give lines out. I think Gallen goes 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, and I think Eovaldi goes 6 innings pitched, 3 earned runs.
Okay. I do expect actually Torey Lovullo to get away a little bit from the bullpen lineup that he's used, meaning if they're in a critical situation, let's say they're up 4-3 in the 5th and Gallen has 2 on and 1 out, it wouldn't surprise me if a guy like Ginkel comes in. It wouldn't. You can't play for, I got to save him till the 8th inning. If that's the most important part of the game, you have to wade through the waters. You're going to have to use your best pieces at different times. I think
I could see that. I think Ryan Thompson kind of fits that bill too. I feel like he can put out some fires pretty well.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah. I mean, at this point, you have to, if there's a high leverage situation where if you don't get these outs, you're looking at a 4 or 5 run deficit, then I could see Ginkel coming in for sure.
Yeah, his 3 most trustworthy relievers right now, in no particular order, are Thompson, Ginkel, and Sewell. Right, the lefty situation.
Oh no, Ryan Nelson's in there too after last night. We didn't even talk about him.
He was phenomenal, and he did exactly what he needed to do. He gave them length, but the next time we would see him is in Game 7.
Yeah, no, he retired 11 straight.
Yeah, he did great. He did great, and you're right. He does deserve some flowers thrown in his direction. Did you see the graphic that Fox put up about Nathan Eovaldi in clinching games?
Mm-mm.
He's pitched 4 times, 3 starts, 1 relief appearance, 3-0, 1.33, 24 strikeouts, no walks.
He's a dog
in clinching scenarios. So Texas could be interesting. Hey, once again, we're presented by SeatGeek. Don't forget to get your SeatGeek question of the week in by Thursday on our social media channels at Chris Rose Sports. If we pick your question and use it on the show on Friday, you'll get $1,000 credit to use on SeatGeek, which is awesome. And we've had some great questions, so keep piling them in. Let's go. Get creative, get fun, test our brain, test our knowledge. A couple of quick Halloween costumes with the baseball flair, the Immaculate Grid, the father-son. That was fantastic. I know you're not a big Immaculate Grid guy, are you?
I did it for a while, but I haven't been doing it lately.
But that was great. I love the percentages on the on the board and everything. Very, very cute. Very nice. And then the Paul Skeens Living Done kids, excellent.
I like really that good too. It's a power couple right there.
That's adorable. Yeah, I like it. I'm in. Did you see any good costumes out last night? Did you at least poke your head while kids were trick-or-treating?
No, I mean, we had a bunch of families kind of come to our house, little pregame for the adults. Then they all left. And me and my buddy Mike, Coach Mike, one of my assistant coaches on my team, we sat back and watched the game. Olivia was like a sexy pumpkin, which was nice. Like that.
Do we call that pumpkin spice?
Maybe. Love that pumpkin. Best costume I saw. I saw Trump that was hilarious. That's a hilarious Halloween costume. I feel like that's going to be around forever too.
Yeah,
because he just has that look,
Yes.
Oh, you know who did a good one, and I'll give credit to them because they're my friends too. Jimmy and Jess Clausen, they did Finkel and Einhorn. So Jimmy got dressed up, in the Dolphins uniform, pads on, mustache. Then his wife got dressed up as
cute,
the woman version.
Got it. All right. That's all right. We had a huge, there's some of those blow up costumes that like kids get fully into and they're engulfed in it. Some kid was this enormous parrot, I think. I was like, okay, I got to grab a picture of that. Funny. It was funny.
I like that.
Had a good time. All right. Quickly. Last day of the baseball season.
My gut says yes, Chris. My gut says yes. I don't want it to be. I enjoy watching ball and talking with you, and I don't want it to stop. Although the show won't stop, but my gut says yes, though.
Okay.
You?
I believe in Nathan Eovaldi. I do. I had D-backs in 7 to start this thing. I just think it's too much of a mountain to climb at this point, which means we'll see you in Arizona for Game 6 on Friday.
Hey, really Jake's in the pool. Jake's in the pool.
He's in the pool tonight?
Yes.
The pool?
He's like a lifeguard.
Oh, they better.
I'm gonna reach out and try to make sure he's on camera.
Oh, he will be. He will be.
That's the only reason I would say that the Snakes might win is because he's put so much effort into this, like flying. He did the show last night, flew out early this morning. He's there.
Love it. That's great. Have a great time, Jake. All right, we are back at it again tomorrow, and we can't wait. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, and the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Thursday on Baseball Today.